Welcome, everybody. This is the Day Trading Options Daily Review for October 28th, 2015. I'm Scott. Alan's going to be taking you through the day. This is one of those special 8 times a year day called an FOMC day. And that's basically when the U.S. Federal Reserve gets up in front of a microphone somewhere, a whole bunch of cameras point at the chairman of the board, and he says something, and then the markets go nuts. And for that reason, it's both a very, well, I was going to say a dangerous day, but in the danger lies opportunity. And
Yes.
so we're going to be diverging a little bit from our usual 10% in 10 minutes, because this is the day that, if you have been following us all along, we've said don't trade it. However, we're going to show you actually now, we think you've come along far enough that we can show you how to trade this day. And that's what we're going to do. So make sure you subscribe on the bottom right-hand corner. We really appreciate it. You know, another thing you could do if you enjoy these and are getting something out of these little videos that we're doing for you is hit the like button and also share it. Let some of your friends know that this is possible. And that's all we're talking about here, is the possibility of using options to create financial freedom, 10% in 10 minutes. So with that out of the way, Alan, it's October 28th, 2015. The Fed is getting up. They're about to say something. Take it away.
Yep, and quite often you have to wait, and I think we mentioned that in that one we did a while back on FOMCs. You have to wait a few minutes before you commit a trade. Now, just so you know, I made 30% on one trade, and then I made 20% on another trade. And the beautiful part about SPY is you can load up on that stuff. It's usually a penny spread. So this is, I'm giving you all the details. We should charge $97 for this, but we're giving it to you because you're subscribers. But you only get to do this 8 times a year. So here it is. It's 2 o'clock. They're making their announcement, and usually it's about 10 or 15 minutes of volatility before a trend and direction gets set in. That's when all the big money starts piling in behind a direction, and the confusion about what does that mean. Well, here in the very first minute, you don't want to trade, and I didn't. And I wait 10 minutes before I do. So I'm going to move forward 1 minute. Now, that's a lot. Just, you know, that candle is bigger than all these guys ahead of it. Well,
wow, you got to go back one. Let's just, do this, what is it? Replay. Here's, we're doing a replay. Back one. Okay, go forward again.
Go forward one. Because
wow.
At this point,
okay, go back again.
Yeah, at this point.
Oh my.
At this point, it's like some people that don't know what to do. And I used to be one, and this is where I just do research and figure stuff out, and I have put mine online. They'd think, great, this is the high of the day, it's broken, these guys know something. That's not true. I should write it this way. No, they're actually probably playing you. If you know the truth about Jim Cramer and some of these other guys, and you can see YouTubes where he actually admits it, they're basically pirates with hats. Or no hats. And so here she's said, Janet Yellen, she's the Fed chairman of the day, she said that, well, we're just going to keep interest rates the same. Now, you know, the economic folks and all that, well, that means this and that means this, and we should be going up or we should be going down and blah, blah, blah. But there were people that were guessing ahead of time or were pushing the market up, that's saying, yeah, this is a great thing and you should go get it. So we actually post a notice that says on the program, FOMC schedule, blah, 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 it's coming, right? So we actually tell you that before you even get in there, that it's coming, so you don't get clipped. So here we are, we're looking at this and thinking, well, what does that mean and which way should I go? So at one point, because these things, and this is replay, we've got the dates, you can go look at all of them, you'll see that it does this nonsense and then it chooses a direction. That's pretty often. But there comes a point, and that's the beauty of having some experience, where you say, okay, I don't think that's just flutter anymore, that's a direction. So 1 more minute, And this is where I'm looking at it going, I think this thing's going to go red. And it's like, well, will it? And at this point also, the spread, I'm going to get rid of, you can see the volume, that's that bar. I'm going to get rid of that. Was crazy high. That's not a surprise. But that means opportunity. So the spread on even SPY was a bit much. It was 8 cents, which means $8 for a 100 share contract thing. I bought it, and I bought a put because this to me looked significant enough that it was going to carry weight. So I bought it, and then what did I do? I got that. I was happy. That paid for the spread and then some, and I hung on. And it's like, well, and then you see it went all the way down and came all the way back. And I thought, this is RA. I know enough about that. So I got out and I made 30%. Yeah, 30% profit from this point to this point. And we all have bad habits. And mine is that I'd like to get into a trade too late. So I was very tempted to get in again when I started seeing, here we go, more red. I thought, oh, this is going to go forever. Now this is just, everybody's got their own bad habits, which is why we have that course. So you go, oh yeah, that's just my, oh yeah, that's my bad habit. I should not do this. So, you know, very tempting. And of course that was a bad thing. It just didn't want to go. And oh, and that did, and so, oh, maybe I should and shouldn't. No, I made 30% here. What am I complaining about? That's 3 years for average stock market and 10 years for average bank rate returns. And anyways, so I got out and I was happy, but then I'm going to put on some indicators so you get a clue. So this is everything I actually did. Murray and I have been playing with this idea about teaching people yet another strategy, not to confuse them, but it's like when you've got your 10% in 10 minutes down, then we're going to start maybe giving you some other stuff, not to confuse you, because that would be the worst thing, but just to say, hey, you know, there's other stuff. So the short answer is, I saw this, and I made another 20% going this way. And you go, wow, is that really true? It's like, yeah. So it's like it flutters, it does whatever. I forget when I got in. I have to look at the book, but I did make it the 20%, I guess just in that little bit there. And I just said, yeah, whoop, I'm taking that. Oh no, that looks more like it. I'd have to check the times, but yeah, I made another 20% just on the other side of that. It was 18, yeah.
So one of the things I want to jump in and talk about right now is this is not a long-term trade.
No.
Right? I mean, you get in, you can just see right now, there's actually the big red drop, then there's a nice green rise, then there's another red drop, and then there's another green rise. So there's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 potential, you know, if you got in at the right times, you're making money 4 times. Not saying you should do it, but saying that when this is, there's a lot of activity, and the activity will never be 100% one way. It'll be down and then it'll come back up. It's like a pendulum. The pendulum never is at the center point. It always swings up one side or swings up the other side or down, right? I mean, it's moving, and the stock market is the same thing. So when you see a huge movement, there's that opportunity for retracement, and that's what you did. You said, well, it's gone down as far as it's gone down too far, and now the bulls are saying, well, this is too low, I'm going to buy, and go up it goes, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that talk about a condition, they call it oversold and overbought. This started looking like oversold, and then when it started dithering in here, I look at a lot of charts, so I didn't remember where it was, but when it was dithering enough, and I think it was around this halfway point of the risk zone, that I said, oh, that looks like I could get a bit of money, because it's showing the oversold what is failing. And if we move forward in time, I could have hung on, but you know me, I don't hang on. I was out. I was in and out. And again, this is not for people to begin. I mean, I was in and out in a little slice like that, just like this was 30%, whatever exactly that was. I think it was down here somewhere. But anyways, the point is that little slice was worth 20% profit. And I'm not interested in wondering, see, like, I don't like this stuff down here. That's why I got out here. It's like, that was money in the bank. And this other stuff I didn't know about. It's not about greed. It's about bank and profit. Get paid on all these little bursts. That's the idea is, and that's the whole point, is you just want to get paid on these little bursts like this business. And this is junk. It's not big and junk, and you don't want to get involved with that kind of stuff. And that's why there is a risk zone. It's like, well, it's got to prove itself. Does it meet all the other things? This probably didn't, because it's like, it's old move.
One of the most dangerous things you can do is try to maximize your trades.
Yeah, and you'll never find a perfect system. And I know a fellow who's got a really awesome trading style for Forex, and he's not using it because he's trying to make it perfect. And it will never happen. You will always get a loss. Talk to Warren Buffett. He knows.
I was just going to bring him up, and I was going to say he's the guy that says, when they ask him, how'd you make your money? He said, I got in too late and I got out too soon.
Yeah.
So you want to get in after the crowd has already pushed the doors down and it's heading that way, and you want to get out before the crowd turns around and goes the opposite way. Because if you're behind the crowd and they turn around and they come the other way, you're going to get stampeded.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is about as risky a trade I will get, and you can see that you could have hung on. I'm not interested in all that nonsense. It's like,
holy smokes.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned in this is where dumping half is a good idea if and when you think, or a third, or like 2/3, like that other lady does, that I mentioned in a previous. You could, when you made your money here, because let's say you liked it here, because that's about at the time I liked it, was in this halfway zone. It was crossing pretty clearly.
Yes.
Then if I would have just dumped 2/3 here, I could have let the other stuff ride, because I'd be so far above my entry. Oops, my mouse isn't working too good.
It's a different story when you're playing with the bank's money versus playing with your own money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think
Once
it's
you made all your money back.
Yeah, it's way better to play with your own. So I'm just redrawing this because the mouse was changed that. Okay, so here is, that would be, let's say, where I got in, and this was my 20% right there. Keeping this other business as it's riding up, and this little bit of flutter down here. Do I care when I'm so far above my entry? No. Now, I'd certainly want to get out here because I don't like the last 15 minutes. It can be pretty scary. So you might make some, you might lose some. Well, that sounds to me like gambling on a mediocre hand.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care. And that's why this stuff, we don't like it. It's mediocre. You're probably going to lose money. Probably, not maybe, probably.
Okay, so the curious part of me says, Alan, can you go back to the beginning of the red drop?
Sure.
And buy a put and follow it to the bottom of the red drop, and then buy a call and follow it all the way up to the top, so that we can, just so you have an idea of the money that we're leaving on the table by not trading these.
Yeah. And of course, you wouldn't, unless you're...
you would never do this trade because you would wait till you were somewhere around where you're at. But I want you to go back one little more step.
Right to the top.
There you go. Okay.
Maximizing your profit. Okay.
Maximizing your profit. So, of course, you're not going to do this ever, but this is just to give us a number. Okay. So move forward a couple of minutes, or...
Yeah. Here's I'm going to just find the bottom. Okay. The bottom.
No.
There.
Back.
The bottom is there. That's your...
Okay. Doubled your money.
Double.
So,
yeah. And
sell.
Yeah. You easily would have done that. I was there.
Yeah. So, okay. So sell it.
Okay.
And then go through a second or something, and then, okay, now buy a call. And
we're going to go to the end of the day.
Go to the end of the day. Doubled your money. So there you go. You could have doubled your money twice. Of course, it'll never happen. But the point of the being is just think about that for a second. If you had $1,000 in your investment, you turned it into 2,000 at the bottom, and you turned it into 4,000 at
By
the
doubling again, yeah.
at the end, right? So you
Yeah.
started with 1,000 and now you've got 4,000.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a pretty good day.
Yeah,
And
pretty
we're
good.
talking about it 2 hours here, right?
Yeah.
So doubling, you know, quadrupling your money in 2 hours. Now that's not going to happen, but what if you could have got that 30% going down and that 30% going up? And this is the sort of stuff that you can do if you're in the game, if you're practiced, if you're experienced. If you're a novice, like we didn't show people this a year ago when we were starting to do these videos, but
No.
now we're starting to because we've got enough people that are keen, that we trust, that we know, understand the rules, they follow it, and now it's like, yeah, now here's a great opportunity to make some big bucks instead of your, you know, your steady income. You know, it's kind of like the bonus. Every quarter you get a bonus, right?
Yeah, this is bonus day for sure.
This is bonus day, and it happens like you can go back to every one and you can follow it, and then you can get familiar with it. But you don't do this when you don't know what you're doing. So if you're just starting out, you need to take the classes, you need to practice with the software, you need to get some coaching, and you need to have everything set up for success. And then you have these opportunities. And we're showing you this because this is the day and what happened. And you know, we still advocate 4 times a week, make your 10% in 10 minutes, and then you can do whatever you want. Do it in a separate account, different account. You can have multiple accounts, right, Alan?
Yep.
So you got your living account, like this is what pays the rent, pays the mortgage, pays the gas bills, pays for the kids' braces, all that sort of stuff. And then you have another one that is your, well, I liked what, I don't think he thought of it, but T. Harv Eker he had 5 jars. He said, this is your,
Yes.
you know, this is your blow it money. You do whatever you want with it. This is your mortgage and your living expenses money, and the jar. He had a name for all the jars. This is your vacation jar, right?
Yep.
So you have the jar, you have the account that's for, you know, your 10% that looks after everything, and then you have your other jar or your other account where it's like you get to play a little bit more and take advantage of these big swings. But if you're not doing the 10% jar right, you don't want to be looking at this
No.
because that's how you lose all your money.
Yeah, you want to, yeah, because if you can't do, if you can't walk, don't run. It's just not going to work. So
Yeah. Hindsight is always 100% 2020.
yeah.
So there you go. Thank you very much for joining us. This is a Day Trading Options Daily Review for October 28th, 2015. He's Alan. I'm Scott, www.wavesofprofits.com if you want to know a little bit more, but you're far better off going into the description. We've got links to our 3 main courses there. The first one is just a straight introduction to what are these things called options, what are calls, what are puts, how does this friggin' thing work? And then the second one gets into all of these indicators, how the software works, and our main 10% in 10 minutes strategy. And the third course is by Stephen, one of our coaches, and he gets into his cornerstone method, which what did he tell you when you were talking to him today or yesterday about his
Oh,
students?
yeah.
The 80-20 rule?
Yeah, he gets them after 2 weeks of coaching because his system is fairly simple to follow, which is a good thing. After about 2 weeks, they're right 80% of the time on their trades. And you have to think about that the statistics that are well published out there is that most day traders lose money, and they do that for about 7 years that they're not making money. So here, 2 weeks, they're right 80% of the time. And then after that, it's just a bit of fine tuning and practice. And Stephen himself, the developer of that particular combination of indicators and whatnot, he is right 100% of the time, and he loves it. And so he's doing a reno on his house right now. Well, how's that getting paid for, huh? Everything that he didn't like about the house, his lady and him, it's like, we're fixing this, that, the other thing. He isn't coaching, right now because he's happily getting his house totally fixed up. And meanwhile, he's still, doing his trading.
That's right. Well, it doesn't take you, if it takes you 10 minutes to do your trades, which is about, I think, what it takes him, you've got a lot of time to be working on your house.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a good life. It's, and the funny thing is, of course, it's not for everybody. And some people look at that and go, "Ooh, I don't know." It's like, well, why don't you just try the replay? You know, take the course. I mean, the coupon's so cheap. You know, people have charged $3,000 for less information than you get in course number 2. And I can get you a bunch of people that say, oh my God, you're telling us all this stuff? And say, yeah. My favorite quote from somebody that took the course is, you don't realize how good your course is. It's like, oh, yes, I do. I spent years putting this together.
That's right. So thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.